So, Coach, obviously, you guys have typically been one of the best defenses in the Big 12 in the country this season, but you pointed to that after losses as being a problem. So, when the defense hasn't performed well, what is it that you haven't liked, and what is it that they normally do much better?
Yeah, I think it's been a variety of things at times. The other night I thought we guarded Tech really well, really well in the first 15 minutes of the game. We're up 8, and then sometimes it has as much to do with our offense as our defense. But in this particular case, they got in transition, and that hurt us. And then the second half, they really hurt us inside in the interior, and that was a Texas Tech, strength of what they do. And there's been other games where, maybe we put them at the free throw line too much, or they get downhill and get into our paint, for drives or whatever. So it's been a combination of things. But when our defense is good, typically we've been right where we need to be. Again, I'll use Texas Tech as an example. We're up by 8 with 15 minutes ago because our defense, I thought, was really good, and then our offense was able to do enough to keep us where we needed to be. And then when our defense slips a little, there are times where now we're playing in transition a lot because we're not scoring, or they're playing in transition a lot because we're not scoring, and now it gets really hard to keep up.
When you don't have a whole lot of depth, I mean, your rotation's 8. How much does that impact defense, first and foremost?
And I think it can, during games. I think there's a lot of teams across the country that are playing, 8-ish man rotation. So again, I don't think that's a reason why or why not at all.
Questions, please use the raised hand feature. Go to Justin.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, from game to game, I mean, you don't change much in terms of game planning and preparation and things like that. I get that. But when you get to late February, early March, and now all of a sudden, everyone's kind of playing for that spot for postseason or conference, whatever the case may be. Certainly, the significance of the games change. Maybe if the game planning doesn't. How do you handle that? And as far as being in a bubble position, how do you handle that? As in terms of talking with the players, or maybe you don't even bring it up at all.
I think we mentioned you before. I think our only communication with our team is we are playing for something right now, and right now, I think most people would agree if the season ended today, we're in the tournament. So we just got to continue to do our part and know that these are meaningful games, as you mentioned, and find ways to continue to try to put some wins up there. And that's our goal every night, obviously. So our next goal is to try to do that against TCU.
Do you have a magic number in mind, what you guys need to finish with?
Not really. I mean, I deep down, think I know what it is, but overall, let's just go win a game, go try to win the next one, and just do that to finish out the year. Like I said, I believe we have a tournament team. I think we have a tournament resume, that stands up, really well. But again, we got to just continue to play and finish the season off.
John.
Alette and Reynolds were really good against you guys in the first game. I think Alette had 11 rebounds and 5 assists, and I think Reynolds was 6 of 9 from the floor. What did you see from them? What do you got to do this time around?
Yeah, I thought again, I thought we started off the game really well defensively. We were great. We built a double-digit lead in that first half, and then we let them get to the rim. We got them get to the free throw line. I think the free throws disparity in that game was rather large. So we can't have that and expect to win games, especially on the road. So we got to do a better job of keeping them off of the free throw line, and part of that is doing a better job of keeping the ball in front of us.
What about Punch? I know he had a pretty good game against Cincinnati. What do you see from him, and what did Cincinnati do against TCU to get that win on Saturday?
Yeah, he did have a very nice game. He's a good player. You can see he's continuing to grow, as the season goes on, and he's got a lot of potential. And I thought Cincinnati did a really good job. I thought they were pretty aggressive driving the ball. I thought they did a good job of getting downhill and putting pressure on the rim, and that's something certainly Cincinnati can do to you. So. I thought it was just one of those games where since he had some good things going offensively, and they were able to, pull away in that second half.
Bob.
Yeah. Coach, offensively, you've talked about defense on losing games. Is there a commonality in the offensive deficiency, if it were, or whatever you want to call it, the losses? I mean, of all your losses, you've scored, I think, 71, 70, and points are the only three times you broke 70. Is there something that holds that all together?
Yeah, I mean, it's offensively, like we talked about, our consistency, shooting, since, we had the injuries and things has been a challenge for us. So that's why, we've continued to make defense, has to be a constant every single night because we can control that. So that's the one thing we just have to always make sure that's what's going to win or lose us a game is our defensive effort and our consistency on that end. And then, on the offensive end, continue to, try to really, generate as many good shots as we can. And we want them to all go in, as much as possible. But, the thing that we can do and control as an offense is it's get good shots. And then, that's the beauty of basketball. We can't make it go in, but as long as we're taking the right ones and good ones, we'll continue to do that. And I still feel like we got a little run in us on the offensive end that we're going to break out and have a few nights where the shots start to go again.
Kevin.
Coach, travel kind of piling up here at the end with, you're gone most of this week and then home for one game and then to the Big 12 tournament. Has that been any different than in your previous head coaching jobs? Have you learned anything about maybe how to manage this for your players a little better?
Yeah, we're certainly building up some frequent flyer miles. So, no, maybe when we were in the Big East, we went out, from Nebraska to the East Coast a lot, and had a couple times where we'd stay out for 2 games, that type of stuff. So, we've done that before. There's a couple trips on the, that we have that are a little longer. The Utah BYU trips. That's a good long flight. But you get in there the day before, you get a chance to, get rested up and get ready for the game the next day. So I don't really look at it as a huge deal. I think it's, we got young men that are used to traveling and they've been a part of this before. So we just try to keep them as fresh as possible in what we're doing on the practice floor and things. And they'll continue to compete as hard as they can.
More emphasis on rehab and recovery in these things as much as you can.
Yeah, I think probably every team right now is get into February. It's about keeping guys fresh and healthy and continue to adjust some of the things you're doing. But for the most part, everybody knows your concepts, offense and defensively. So again, it's just a matter of staying sharp as you get into these last few games.
Cody.
Hi, Darren. So obviously TCU found some stuff that worked in your first meeting, but I assume a coach like Jamie Dixon isn't just going to roll into this one and think he's going to run the same exact stuff. So how do you kind of prepare for, like, in the second meeting like this? The coach is going to try something new, but at the same time there was stuff that worked. So how do you prepare for the unknown while also trying to fix what went wrong last time?
Yeah, I think you go into every game, knowing this is what they do, and they're going to do 80% of kind of, you're not going to change your entire identity every game out. So they're going to try and, feature the guys they want to feature, try to put them in the spots that they feel they can be successful. And they're still going to execute, their offense and their plays and those things. And they'll throw certainly some wrinkles at you to, try to see if they can get a bucket or two. But that's where you just got to rely on your principles as a defense and And then same thing offensively, like we're always trying to add stuff as well, but you're still going to kind of play to what you've been doing all year and run your offense, if you will.
Mike,
Hey, Darren, how's it going?
Good.
Want to go back to some of your post game comments the other day. Kind of, I don't know, the pace or the maybe urgency. It seemed like you were frustrated with how quickly things went in the second half, and I don't know if that got away from Amani a little bit, or if maybe more things should have gotten to him. But he had a good thing going, and it wasn't the same in the second half. And then I guess maybe playing off that a little bit, the way he's played lately, does that go into your hunch that there is a breakthrough coming offensively, because inside, outside, guards, forwards, when he's been going good, they have worked well together.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I thought we had a really nice rhythm to our offense for the first 15 minutes in that first half. I thought we were, being pretty selective on what we were trying to get, and I thought the guys were playing well off of one another. And then we just got a little anxious on a few possessions, and then that led to some quick shots, some quick opportunities, and for them to get into transition, and then that kind of finished off the half that way, and then into the second half. We had a few turnovers. We did have some open ones in the second half that we would certainly take again, and we just didn't make them. But when you come up empty, on multiple possessions the way we were, and now you're always playing in transition as a defense, and with a team like Texas Tech, you're putting yourself in a really hard spot, and they're hard to control anyway. But when you're never having them take the ball out of bounds, that does put a lot of stress on your defense.
And then just the way that they played inside a little bit, does that affect Amani's offense, or should it affect his offense, or was there some other explanation where he just didn't have the same opportunities, the same productivity after halftime?
Yeah, I just didn't feel like we got it into him a few times. We got him a basket right away to start the second half. We got him down the post and he scored. We had a couple other ones that I think he had a travel and maybe missed one or two in there. And then outside of that, we didn't get him maybe as clean of looks as we would have liked. Some pick and pops and some of that stuff just wasn't there in that second half. And so we didn't get that same rhythm that we had going those first 15 minutes.
Bob.
Yeah, Coach. Two other things actually. What has been your approach to Javon since they've put the extra pressure on him and have made up their minds that he's got to be stopped before anything else? How do you approach that as a coach? And the other thing is, how have you approached the idea of the fouls hurting you so much?
What was that last part?
How have you approached the idea of how the fouls that your team has made hurting you so badly? You not getting them and them get fouling them.
Right. As far as Javon, our approach has been the same as in terms of we need you to continue to be aggressive, as a scorer, as a playmaker. We've had to try to adjust some of our offense to get him, on the move a little bit. So teams, get him off the ball to get it back to him and try to get him where he can, have the defense chase him a little more so we can get him create an advantage for him. So, at times it's been really good for us. At times it's been hard to get him some shots because he is commanding so much attention. But I think he's handled it very well. Like we said, he's had a few games where he's gotten 8-9 assists and he continues to be aggressive. The other night he got some pretty decent looks for him. It was just one of those nights that from three at least that they just weren't going down for him. But and then the rest of the team, on the foul pieces, we're aggressive, we're physical. We just got to continue to be as disciplined as we can in it to keep people off the foul line. And but it's also part of why our defense has been so good all year is we do play pretty tough and physical, and I think our guys are doing a pretty good job of trying to maintain that type of mentality, but again, just a little bit more discipline and a little less handsy at times has been our focus.
Great.
Yeah, Coach, Toby had two of his better games this season against Baylor and BYU. kind of struggled since too in each of the last two. How do you get him back on track, I guess? And ultimately, how different are you guys offensively when he's giving you maybe close to double digits or in the teens?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's not even just Toby. It's whenever we get that kind of second and third guy, that's a huge deal for our offense, and that's where, whether it be Joe or JP or Toby or Monty, whatever it may be, just getting a combination of guys where they're getting us 8 to 12 points makes such a difference for us. So, that's why we continue to try to find those guys shots and keep them confident. And I think Toby's. When he's at his best, he's kind of getting a little bit of everything. He's getting us an offensive rebound. He's getting us a post up. He's getting us something in transition, and that's what makes him, so effective when he's playing well. I think those are the type of things he does for us.
And we'll close with Justin.
Coach, just going back to the first game with TCU, it really was like a game of runs where you guys were up 8 or 9, and then they would come back and go up 8 or 9, and then you guys came back to tie it with like a minute left or whatever. Is TCU, when you look at them physically and from a talent standpoint, is this really a pretty good matchup for both teams as far as size, talent, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it seems like we're pretty evenly matched and stuff, and then our game was certainly played out that way. It came right down to the last couple of possessions, and just like a lot of games in the Big 12, it really comes down to who can make the most plays on that particular night, and I anticipate tomorrow night will be no different.
Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for calling in.